Hello and welcome back to Miss Craft Salad Slayer. I am Barbie. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am here today to show you how to make this card. Now, this is going to be a little bit more inks, of course, and just a little bit more difficult with this cut for this piece of paper, but I will show you how to make it super simple. So it's not that hard. It just looks complicated. So first off, to start with the materials today, our card base is Lemon Lime Twist, and it is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I just have to start saying my typical card base, because, yeah. And then we need a piece of crumb cake, and a piece of Whisper White, and these are both cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And this is going to just come right on over here. We are going to be using a cut of the 5/8 burlap ribbon, and this is about 7 inches long. And for the stamp set today, back to Lemon Zest, we're using this particular lemon cut. We are also going to be using Life's Short, and we are going to be using the punch from the bundle. This is the yeah. I will have it listed below. I can't remember the exact name of this straight off the top of my head, but this is the punch that goes along with the bundle. You save 10% if you buy both of them at the same time. For inks today, like I said, it's going to be a little heavy on inks, but we are going to be using the Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lime Twist, Basic Black, and from my Paper Pumpkin stash, the pumpkin pie. You can get this in the bigger Stampin' pad, but I didn't get it yet, so I'm using Paper Pumpkin Stampin' Spot. Alright, now to get started here, I'm on my lovely grid paper here, so it's going to make it a little easier for me to measure this out. This is my cheat way to do this. I'm sure that there's other ways to do this, but this is my cheat way. So I'm going to turn the paper this way, and on the top part of the paper here, I am going to actually measure out. These are 1/4 inches on the grid paper, so it's 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to make a little mark here, turn it over, not turn it over, but twist it 180. Line this back up again here, so it's going to be 7 squares, or 1 3/4 inches. And again, make a little mark. And that is going to show me where I am going to be cutting later here. I'm going to be cutting from this mark to this mark to cut this paper. So this is kind of my own homemade DSP here. Later on, you can either erase these marks, or they're going to be covered up by the burlap ribbon anyway, so I'm just going to leave them. So, I am going to start off here by taking out my Lemon Lime Twist, the Daffodil Delight, and then the pumpkin pie I'm going to leave closed up for now. And I foolishly did not get this stamp on my block yet. Usually I'm prepared for this stuff. Alright. I'm going to start off with the Daffodil Delight. I have my little sample here so I can get it as close to possible as what I had it. But into Daffodil Delight, and mine is pretty juicy still. So I'm going to stamp off and stamp it kind of off of the paper here. And I'm going to do this a couple of times, so then that way I have a few of the lemons on here. Put one up here. And then I am going to do the same thing with the lemon lime twist, stamp off pretty good here. And again, this one's really juicy. Stamp that off. And I think I'm going to put him there. And the same thing, I'm going to stamp about 3 of these on here. And there's that. Stamp that off. And then I'm going to bring out the Stampin' spot for the pumpkin pie. Now this is a little bit different. I'm going to ink from the top down instead of, that way I can see. This is also not so juicy. It's kind of older, so it's, and I'm going to go there. I like the kind of muted tone of it being stamped off for this particular one too, because I think it adds it, or kind of gives it the same vibrance as the lemon and the lime. And you can continue this all the way up past that line if you wanted to and make it make your DSP a little bit bigger. I am going to say I'm fairly okay with that. It still has kind of a large spot there, but we'll survive it. And I will close up. Actually, I need to keep this ink out. The lemon lime twist and the pumpkin pie can get taken off to the side. And I will be right back. Okay, and I'm going to take out my Stampin' trimmer here fast. And I am going to show you how I trimmed that down. So the marks that I made, I'm just going to line up in this groove here, because if you are unfamiliar with the Stampin' trimmer, there's this groove here, and that's going to be the cut line. So I am going to go ahead and put those 2 marks so they're in the groove. And for this, it doesn't have to be exact because you're covering it up with the ribbon. So if you do manage to, you know, kind of cut crooked or whatever, this is a good project to start this on, because it's, you got some hide room, and then you can hide if your paper does that from the cutting. Starting in the middle is so much easier. I didn't listen to myself. Alright. So real fast, I'm going to adhere this down. Be easier if you had your snail open, Barbie. I did it again. probably like once every video, or at least once a week, I forget to open my snail. And so that's down, and as you can tell, I was not, yeah. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this, put the ribbon on here and then put that down. So I start off with running, I adhere this with snail. Not everybody does, but I do. So I'm going to throw just 3 pieces of snail down and put that diagonally across the seam of the card is probably the best way to put it. And then when you fold this over, it's going to go up, in case you have not worked diagonally. It's going to go up on you. Just so you know where to tack it down on the back here. And then this part is going to go that way. I am saying this because, yes, I did make that mistake. I put the snail over going this way, and it's like, wait, that's not going to do that. Yes, I will totally admit I can be an airhead sometimes. Nobody's perfect. Also shows that you don't have to be perfect in order to be a crafter either. I'm going to tack that down just a little bit better. And there is that. Put that on the card front nice and centered. And if it's still coming up on you here, you can always use a glue dot, stick it in there and put it down. Or a little bit more snail, but it's kind of difficult to get your snail down under there. Now, the final part to this card is this Life's Short lemon. I have a trick for that as far as stamping it and cutting it out here. So I am going to start off with the not with the cutting it out, but explain here that there is a larger part to this particular lime, or lemon citrus fruit. And if you can kind of tell, this side's a little smaller than over here. If you are wondering, I made a template here. So that way you know exactly where things are going to be stamping out. So then that way when you go to stamp them, or punch them out rather, when you go to stamp them, you know you're putting it in the right direction. So then that way, if you have a bigger piece of paper, you can easily know that you are going to be not either wasting a whole bunch of paper or you're going to be stamping it the right way. So I'm going to use this scrap here that is left over from cutting this apart in order to stamp the lemon. I'm sorry about that. I heard my air can, and nobody wants to hear that mess. So as I was saying, I have it cut out here so that way you can tell exactly which way it's going to go. And then you know that if you stamp down as such, then that way you are going to be able to punch out that particular citrus fruit a lot better. Now see, if you flip it over, it's gonna be okay, but it's not perfect. So stamp it with that bigger part down. Now I am going to bring back my stamp off sheet here, and I am going to stamp the again, it's Daffodil Delight, and it is soupy. See all those bubbles? Soupy. So stamp off and stamp on your paper. Now, this is also a good time to take out the basic black and you can stamp your sentiment on there. I'm going to wait just a second here because I'm a little on the picky side. So, get that dried just a little bit. Don't want to smear it too much. And I'm going to go right in there, get it nice and centered. See? Punch it out. Because it is also saying that it is a clear mount stamp, it's going to be kind of hard to figure out how to stamp down so you get it nice and perfect. Okay. Clean up a little here. And Life's Short, basic black, my card front, and I am actually going to take this and put it down on the front here, see which way it's going to go, and I kind of like it there. Make sure you're stamping your sentiment and going in the right direction. Have done that before. Kind of embarrassing. And there you go. Life's Short. Now, of course, I haven't had this tacked down yet, but I want it to pop up just a little bit, so I'm going to use dimensionals. And so with the dimensionals, I'm going to flip that over. And I've been known to over-dimensional. I kind of tend to like them. And I don't like things getting folded over or bent over, so the dimensionals help with that placed correctly. So I will go ahead and take this paper off if it wants to come off. And line it up here. And there you have it, a finished card. I hope you enjoyed this card, and like, share, and if you have yet to, subscribe to my channel. I am going to be coming back with lots of different card tutorials, tips and tricks, and Stampin' Up! Promotions. And until next time.